Hello everyone, and welcome to a brand new video on the channel. Today we're going to talk about demystifying Wall Street, the fun side of finance. Before we get started with the video, don't forget to smash the like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get started. Wall Street is a street in New York City, located at the southern end of Manhattan. In a metaphorical sense, Wall Street is much more. It is synonymous with the financial industry and the companies that operate inside it. This connotation stems from the fact that numerous brokerages and investment banks have historically built their headquarters on or near the street. It's much better to be near the New York Stock Exchange. Financial firms no longer consider being on or near Wall Street to be vital. In fact, they can now be found all throughout the country. However, Wall Street still refers to business, the investing business, as well as the interests, motivations, and attitudes of its participants. Wall Street and its neighboring southern Manhattan district, known as the financial district to locals, continue to be important locations for a number of financial organizations. However, globalization and digitization of banking and investing have resulted in the establishment of many NYSE, broker, dealers, registered investment advisors, and investment firms. Still, Wall Street refers to the financial markets, publicly traded corporations, and the investment industry as a whole. Wall Street is represented by stock exchanges, investment banking firms, commercial banks, brokerages and broker-dealers, financial services firms, and underwriting firms. Wall Street is usually reduced to the street, as is the phrase used in financial circles and the media. For example, when reporting profits, an analyst may compare a company's revenues to what the market anticipated. In this situation, the analyst compares the company's results to what financial experts and investment firms expected for that time period. The United States has the world's greatest economy. New York City is its financial center. As a result, Wall Street's global significance is unprecedented. Wall Street is home to some of the world's greatest financial organizations and employs hundreds of thousands of people. It is home to the NYSE and Nasdaq stock exchanges, two of the world's largest stock exchanges. Some of the world's largest corporations, including Amazon, Google, Apple, and Exxon, are listed on these exchanges. Wall Street's economic significance extends throughout the American and foreign economies, as many financial firms do business globally, provide loans to a wide range of businesses and individuals, and finance large-scale global projects. Wall Street has influenced films, television shows, books, and other media. Wall Street, Margin Call, Boiler Room, Barbarians at the Gate, and more films from earlier decades depict the fast-paced world on Wall Street. They exhibit a lively, affluent, and entertaining way of life. During economic downturns, such as the 2008 financial crisis, Wall Street can become a scapegoat, and the woes of the economy are blamed on the presumed greed connected with it. There is no other financial word that has become so ingrained in global culture. Wall Street was named after the wooden wall built by Dutch colonists in Lower Manhattan in 1653 to protect themselves against British and Native Americans. The wall was demolished in 1699, but the name remained. Because of its proximity to New York's ports, the Wall Street district became a thriving commercial center in the 1700s. Its history as a financial center began in 1792, when the Buttonwood Agreement was signed by 24 of the most significant brokers and merchants in the United States. They allegedly met on Wall Street under a buttonwood tree to conduct business. The agreement defined the standard commission-based method of trading securities. In essence, it was an attempt to construct a stock exchange for members only. War bonds and stocks of institutions, such as the Bank of New York, were among the first securities traded. The NYSE, the throbbing heart of Wall Street, is housed in a white marble neoclassical edifice built in 1903. An annex built in 1922 may be seen at 11 Wall Street, while another subsidiary building can be found at 20 Broad Street. These three structures occupy the block delimited on the north by Wall Street, on the east by Broad Street, on the south by Exchange Place, and on the west by New Street. Wall Street is frequently likened to Main Street. The phrase Main Street refers to individual investors, local businesses, employees, and the general economy. It is taken from the usual name for a town's main street, where the majority of the local businesses are located, there is frequently perceived competition between Main Street and Wall Street goals, desires, and motivations. Wall Street typically depicts large corporations and financial organizations, whereas Main Street represents modest enterprises, individuals, and mom and pop shops. Events on or around Wall Street have frequently had an impact on not only the invested business, but also the world economy and society. Here are a few pivotal instances in Wall Street history. Charles Dow, Edward Jones, and Charles Bergstresser founded the Wall Street Journal on July 8, 1889, as a 4-page afternoon newspaper devoted to impartial financial and economic news. The three men were journalists, but Dow was also a mathematician who devised the notion of developing a benchmark list of firms and their stock values to reflect the whole stock market. The journal soon began publishing the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index, as well as hundreds of prices for corporate stocks, bonds, and futures, as well as the average prime rate for bank loans. Before the introduction of real-time online listings, the journal was the paper of record for the financial markets for nearly a century. The three founders worked out of Lower Manhattan offices. The name they chose for their new publication, according to the Wall Street Journal, Wall Street was already a catch, all phrase for the world of money and its inhabitants. Over time, the paper contributed to the public's understanding of its concept. On September 16, 1920, it was around midday. A horse-drawn carriage arrived at 23 Wall Street, directly in front of J.P. Morgan and I Company's offices. It was a busy section of the neighborhood, especially with those heading out for lunch. The cart exploded out of nowhere. It was loaded with explosives and sash weights that soared in the air. It was the worst domestic bombing in U.S. history at the time. In the end, 40 individuals were murdered or died as a result of their injuries, while another 300 were injured. The inside of the GCUP Morgan building was demolished. Shrapnel marks can still be seen on the outside. Nobody claimed responsibility, and the case was never solved. However, because the explosion occurred in front of the Morgan building, a symbol of American capitalism, the bombing was ultimately determined to be a terrorist attack carried out by Reds, anarchists and communist supporters. This notion was bolstered by a stack of anarchist flyers discovered in a mailbox a block away from Wall Street. As a result, hundreds of suspected Reds were detained, and those of foreign nationality were deported. The bombing also fueled nativist views in the United States during the 1920s, leading to harsher immigration restrictions. The crisis occurred on October 24. When the stock market opened lower than the previous session after nearly a decade of remarkable, unbroken growth. Prices for stocks continued to fall throughout the day, and as word spread, people began to gather outside the exchange. They sighed as the market fell again that day, cheered brokers the next 2 days when the market appeared to rise, and then panicked on October 28 and October 29 when the falls returned. Inside the stock exchange, the scene was complete chaos as values dropped too quickly for ticker tapes and blackboards to record them. The crash precipitated the Great Depression. As the U.S. economy tanked, a fifth of the working-age population lost their jobs. Europe's economies quickly followed suit. Finally, the stock market crash and the accompanying decade-long depression had a direct impact on practically every element of society, altering an entire generation's perception of and connection with financial markets. The precise cause of this brief crash has never been determined. Following that, exchanges enacted circuit breaker restrictions to prevent program trading from causing runaway selling. It was believed that this and other trading restrictions would give markets time to calm and allow regulators to take appropriate action. That's a wrap on the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, let me know by giving it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.